Greetings, earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to Wisdom Drops, your source for daily drops of wisdom and Savvy Cat Astrology. Tanya Lasagna back with another video, layering together all the nodal noodles and celestial sauce into something digestible. And today we are discussing on Wisdom Drops crew Mars conjunct Chiron in the sign of Aries. I am personally not entirely excited about this transit, but we'll see what it brings. You know what I mean? Maybe I should be. I'm gonna give you, as always, just my straight up interpretation for better and worse. How it could go any which way is always up to the universe. So let's dive on in. For those of you new to my channel, be sure you subscribe. And regardless of who you are, make sure you smash that like button because it helps the channel grow. And it's a great way to say thank you in exchange for this video. So Mars is this like fiery planet of action and willpower and drive and momentum and energy, and basically like what you choose to do in any given moment is in theory informed by, or at minimum fueled by, your Mars sign. And Mars for us all on planet Earth right now in our galaxy, if you as an astronaut in outer space, okay, it's in the sign of Aries using the Western house Placidus, all that stuff, using the placements, not sidereal. In other words, I'm not using sidereal astrology, y'all. So it's in Aries. And with that said, you want to go ahead and think about the fact that Mars also rules Aries. So Mars is in what's called domicile, or its own place, its own sign, its own territory. It's very at home, literally, like in the sign of Aries. So it's doing its Aries thing. But what's interesting is that at the same time that Mars is in its own sign of Aries, it's speeding on through as Mars tends to do. And, you know, it's going right along and boom, there we go. It's exactly conjunct Chiron this week, just after Venus perfectly conjuncts Uranus in Taurus. So I did a video on that, by the way. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. But Mars's conjunction to Chiron is a whole different dish. It's like we just went from some interesting salad of beautiful awakening in the best sense, you know, best opportunity possible with the Venus conjunct Taurus, or maybe we're having some weird techno salad, realizing I ain't meant to eat this GMO Franken food, you know, over there with that Venus Uranus conjunction. And then all of a sudden we get this experience of some spicy, saucy dish with tears in it. You know, the tears are the secret ingredient in this Chiron Mars experience, because Chiron is the wounded healer. And I've done videos on Chiron. You can just type into your browser Wizdom Dropz Astrology Chiron, and I'll tell you the story. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, this is definitely like a healing experience on offer because Chiron's present. You know what I'm saying? But it is related to that in its Aries. So it's very personal. It's related to that personal part of you where you personally feel maybe alone or isolated, or like it's not even alone and you wish it was, but it's like you are alone in that experience, or you are feeling like there's something that only you can go through that you might be able to get some help on, or maybe not. And if you get some help on it, even then you're the only one going through that experience, you know, nobody else. And that's really where it's like, ooh, that's rough. That's like really freaking rough. It's like it's a soft, ooey gooey marshmallow spot. Even if you're like this big, tough, you know, boulder of a rock of a person, or you're more of a mountainous Taurus, or you're just like this firm Leo, or whatever you are, you just might be really firm and really fixed and really knowing who you are and what you're about and what you're doing. But this Mars Chiron is like, hey, even you got a marshmallow spot. And for those of us who are more marshmallows natively, we is already feeling it, you know, like everybody's out here feeling it. There's some spot in you where you're realizing, I would say, something about your own identity and how your own woundedness either informs your identity, or and or like needs to inform your identity, and or how you need to respond with your identity based on that wound of feeling more isolated in some type of way. So it's really like, you know, Aries is about defining oneself. Mars in Aries is even more so. It's identity based, even though it's not the sun. It is Aries, the sign of I am, the sign of self. So it is about your identity, and it is about moving forward through or with or somehow cohabiting, somehow like working with the like woundedness that has happened in your life. You have to move forward with that reality somehow at this time with a Mars Chiron conjunction. So when best it could be you're literally just healing some really deep wounds and you're feeling on top of things like, hey, I'm 2.0ing this situation because this is me, but it's really me now is different than me then when this wound first happened. In a more negative case, you really just are forced to deal with the fact that you're wounded, and how you do things gets influenced by the fact you were wounded. And whenever I'm talking about Chiron, I always like to reference that Rumi quote because it's like it's a pretty deep quote, you know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit, pardon my French, but when I'm all like, but other times I'm like, yeah, it's pretty wise. And it's let the wound be the place where the light enters. And it's like, you got to think about it like there's always wounds and there's always scabs and scars. Sometimes wounds stay open and hemorrhage, and so get you some yarrow. If you know the herbal use of yarrow leaf, you can use it as a dry poultice and put it on an open gashing wound and it'll stop the bleeding. I guess they used to do that in Rome and whatnot and back in that time and space. But anyways, like get you some Band-Aid or some sutures or whatever it is you need, the best capability you can. Sometimes that's just a prayer, but whatever you can do to try to close that wound and allow your Mars to be the force that heals it. And sometimes when Mars conjuncts Chiron, I think it's about your action is the process by which the wound heals itself. I feel like that was a good message to say, and maybe you want to re-listen to it. But the action is the means by which the wound itself can heal. So sometimes you just got to keep an action when you feel wounded. So I hope that resonates. More than that, I just hope it supports you or heals you or helps you heal, I should say, in your journey through this time. Definitely expect to be feeling kind of vulnerable at one point or another. And, just worst case, sometimes we can be like really emotionally volatile because we feel so wounded. This week, I could see more people acting out because of that. Just something to be aware of, y'all. May peace be with you. You know what I'm saying? May you try your best and succeed in allowing your own inner wisdom and strength. That is the strength portion of that, that is your Mars and your kind of your momentum, your force, your action, your chi, your prana, your life force. May that be in a position where it's compassionate this week and really aware and compassionate of others and their experiences. Okay. That's the end of my message for y'all. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you have not already. Check out my readings at wisdomdropsastrology.com. Okay, on my website. And with that said, through next time, until next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.